In this video, I'm going to look at how to manage a house in multiple occupation, or HMO. In particular, I'm going to look at the job of an HMO house manager and what they are responsible for. Hi, my name is Mark Lloyd. I'm co-founder of Property Master Academy, and I've been investing in property since 2005. Now, this is very important to know before we start. Just in case you haven't already realised it, managing an HMO is not the same as managing a standard buy-to-let. With a standard buy-to-let, there isn't much to do most of the time. HMOs are very, very different. They involve a lot more management work, sometimes on a daily basis. Very importantly, a lot of the work an HMO manager has to do is set down by law. So being an HMO manager is a serious legal responsibility. Do you actually need a manager for your HMO? Well, the answer is yes. The law says that you must have a named person to be the house manager for every HMO. Now, if your HMO is one that needs a license, so that's all HMOs with 5 or more tenants and some smaller ones depending on the council area, you must nominate a house manager in your initial HMO license application. And they will be named in the HMO license too. An HMO house manager has both a practical role and a legal role. The name, address and a contact number for the house manager must be given to every resident and displayed in the HMO prominently. In effect, this means the house manager is the point of contact for all questions, queries and complaints from residents, or anybody else who might visit the house for that matter, such as the local council or maybe even the police. They are essentially on-call contact. The manager is also responsible for ensuring that all the rules and regulations which apply to running HMOs are also followed. If they do not, they can be prosecuted by the local authority and fined or even given a civil penalty. So as you can see, being an HMO manager can be a very demanding role. Next, let us look at choosing an HMO manager. Well, in theory, you can be your own HMO house manager. There are some HMO landlords who manage their own HMOs as their own full-time job. But unless or until you are experienced in the running of HMOs, it's probably not to be recommended. A better alternative for most new HMO investors is to use an HMO letting agency. They will provide you with an experienced HMO manager from day one. Another option is to employ a full-time house manager directly. Now, this might be an option where you have a large portfolio of HMOs to run and manage. So what does an HMO house manager actually do? Well, firstly, it's the responsibility of the manager to ensure the safety of the house. This is a legal responsibility too, by the way. Secondly, the manager ensures that the house is properly run and maintained. This is also a legal responsibility. Something that's not often appreciated is that the house manager is there to look after what might be called the tenant experience. With every HMO, you want good tenants who will stay for a long time. Well, a good house manager who looks after your tenants well is one way of achieving this. By the way, an HMO house manager can also do other things, like show new tenants around the property, for example, and collect the rent. But these are not part of their legal responsibility as a house manager. I should also mention that different types of HMO can be very different to manage. An HMO for professionals or contract workers is likely to be easier to manage than other types of HMO. Student HMOs are known for requiring a lot more work, although this often depends on the students. An HMO providing accommodation for tenants on benefits may require a lot more hands-on management. It's worth bearing this in mind when deciding what type of HMO to set up and when choosing an HMO manager. Now, some more information about the legal duties of an HMO manager. Next, I'm going to look at what the law requires an HMO manager to do. This is set down by something known as the Management of Houses in Multiple Occupation, and in brackets England Regulations 2006, by the way. Outside of England, there are different regulations, although the aim of them is very, very similar. I will just briefly summarise what these regulations cover here. So number 1, the duty to take safety measures. An HMO manager must ensure that all means of escape from fire are maintained and kept free from obstruction, and that all fire precautions are maintained. They must ensure that the tenants are protected from injury. In practical terms, part of this role means ensuring that all fire exits are kept clear and are properly signed, and that fire extinguishers, where required, are in place. It means testing the fire alarm regularly and ensuring that it is serviced periodically. It also means ensuring that hazards which might cause trips, slips and falls are addressed. Number 2. The duty to maintain water supply and drainage. In practical terms, this includes making sure that sinks, baths, showers and WCs are always in working order. It includes making regular checks, being a point of contact if tenants report any faults, finding someone to fix breakdowns, and ensuring the work is done. Number 3. The duty to supply and maintain gas and electricity. In practical terms, this includes ensuring that all gas and electrical equipment, including heating, is in safe working order and repaired and serviced where necessary. A house manager is also responsible for ensuring that the annual gas safety checks and 5-yearly electrical safety checks, as required by law, are carried out. Number 4. The duty to maintain common parts, fixtures, fittings and appliances. A manager must ensure that all common areas, fixtures, fittings and appliances in the property are maintained in good, safe, working order and are clean. Now, this is a very wide-ranging responsibility. However, the regulations specifically mention things like windows and ventilation, lighting, stairways, yards and gardens. Incidentally, a house manager does not have to do all these tasks personally. They can find tradespeople or cleaners, etc. to do them for them, but ultimately they are responsible for ensuring these things are done. Number 5. The duty to maintain living accommodation. A house manager must ensure that each room and the furniture and fittings within it are in a good state of repair and clean at the start of each letting. Again, by the way, the manager doesn't have any responsibility here for things that the tenant provides themselves. Number 6. The duty to provide waste disposal facilities. In practice, this means ensuring there are enough bins and that rubbish is collected as necessary. As part of your licence application, your local authority will provide much more information about how they expect an HMO to be managed. And these duties are most likely, many others too, will usually be included as conditions in the licence. These duties are a legal minimum, by the way. You're perfectly free to exceed them, and indeed you may need to in order to keep your HMO competitive and attractive to tenants. Well, I hope you found this video useful and that it will help you when deciding if HMOs are for you and in planning your first HMO investment. And if you have enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button so that others just like you will get to see it, and also subscribe to our channel so you get notified of other videos that we post each and every week. Also appearing on your screen right now will be more videos that will help you in your property business. Thanks for listening.